So today's video is going to be how to revise the big three: maths, English, science, and how I got E to C in that, how I got the grades I got. I am recent in English, but sort of how I managed to get to where I am, how I basically managed to get a grade. We'll start with everyone's favourite, maths. I revised maths by simply practicing. So used YouTube videos. So I used Maths Watch, which is a good site. If you want to know what grades I got, I have a results day video, so go watch that. I didn't find it personally helpful. I did find it helpful for coordinates, but I was more just going over coordinates, even though it's my absolute favourite thing about maths. But other than that, I didn't use Maths Watch. Not because it was bad, but because it personally didn't work for me. Which is the important thing, is finding a revision technique which works for you. I'd recommend Maths Genie. I use for if I didn't understand something Mr. Hegarty Maths. I know all you're going to say, but we need to know our formulas. So, if you come across a formula, write it down and put it on a post-it note, and every time you come across it, you need to recite it out. A tip which didn't work for me is formulas on a flashcard. But don't just do times tables, odd numbers, even numbers. Do formulas for actual equations and stuff like that. If you don't know times tables, then learn them, because times tables really help with maths. They make maths a bit easier. The way to learn the times tables is to write them out till you can recite it, till simply it is so boring that you just know it off the top of your head like that. A big tip is if you need to count on your fingers in an exam, do it. As long as you don't do it in the air, nobody's going to see it. I just thought I'd go through that because it's just a side tip. This is more of an exam tip, for past paper questions. Show your workings out. From personal experience, you get more marks if you show your workings out. Do questions in the textbook, because this will give you practice. Being able to apply the formula to a question is why doing lots of practice questions is so important. So something I wish I was better at, being able to figure out where I went wrong. You need to remember where you went wrong. Is it a silly mistake? Try and figure out where the silly mistake is, when it's happened. Then do more practice questions. If it's an understanding, go see your teachers, use online resources, go back to your flashcards. It's a formula issue, relearn the formula, go see your teacher, explain where you went wrong with the formula. Now we're going to move on to English, one of my favourites. The biggest tip is to reread your text, because this will get the book into your head. Make sure you learn quotes, because that's the key to pull your grade up. Very similar with words be familiar with words like explain, describe, persuade. And get familiar with, if you need to do this, point, evidence, explanation, and zoom paragraphs. These you may do, you might not. You'll see I do a lot of these on my channel. So get good at zooming in these paragraphs to get the higher marks. A big tip, a big tip is lots of different types of writing will come up in the exam. You need to be familiar with every single one. Practice creative writing and really listening to the flow, helping with the issue of writer's block. So do writing for 5 minutes, sit. Whatever comes into your head, write it down, forget spelling and grammar and all those kind of things. Then you can expand, get the characters asking questions, set a target of 3 questions at least, and also practice describing something, giving it in a deep description. Big tip, learn your language devices, because you don't want to think, whoops, forgotten my language devices. Be original as well as learn the obvious. Learn your quotes, examiners love quotes. This is what will push your grade up a bit more, using quotes. You can learn your quotes by doing quote flashcards, quote post-it notes. Writing out quotes, you can even make quote posters. Context. I find context is important because it gives you an idea of like the history of the time your book was, the book or the play or the poem or whatever it is has been written, and also just sort of gives you a bit more of an idea about what's going on in the book. Next is science. There is so much to learn. Coming soon, there'll be a video on how to revise biology. I'm not sure when that's coming. Exactly, because I'm pre-filming a bit, so. Find science is one of those subjects where a good thing to do is not to worry whether you like science or not at the end of the day. You're more than what you get in your science exam. You're about the subjects you enjoy, your personality, all those other good things. Science is also very content heavy. I use revision PowerPoints to like consolidate everything to revise. I write it out and write it out till I can recite it. You can also use flashcards. Make sure you're not copying your class notes, because if you do that, you might as well use your class notes. Condense your notes down into the important information. Make sure you test yourself on the content really, because this will really help you to get those marks. Science is a knowledge-based subject as well as that you need to be able to apply it. Make sure with science revision you revise in small steps, like don't cram loads of information in because you will forget it. If you get a question wrong, go to the mark scheme, write it out and then learn it. Make sure you find common questions. Because science is science, there's not much that's going to have changed. It is hard, but it will be worth it at the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, just quite a nice easy one to sort of do, like how to revise subjects that quite a lot of people probably do struggle with, like they're the big 3 subjects. So hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.